Manx Radio Podcasts, powered by Shaw.
Hello and welcome to this week's programme with Kiri Kermode and Simon Clark. And a big day, Open Farms Day, and the Kermode family from Orrisdale and Ballasalla was so kind to let everybody in, and me. I thought I'd have been refused entry. But what a show your family put on, Kiri, and what surprised me, no disrespect. God, there were hundreds of people there.
It was unbelievable. We couldn't believe how many people had turned up. But that's the power of social media these days. And it was so nice to see the children just touching the lamb, stroking the cattle, learning about how to make wool into clothing. The beekeepers were there. It was just absolutely fab for everybody.
Yeah, and it sort of opens people's eyes, isn't it, where they've seen the lambs, and your brother and Chris, I think, were shearing some of them there in front of them. They were wrapping the wool up. And then they had some wool over at Doreen, who had the spinning wheel and everything there. And they were showing how it can be just used from one part of it. You know, a lot of the animal can be used for useful uses.
Well, this is it.
Makes sense.
This is it, exactly. And it was nice to see it go from the sheep to shawl or socks or whatever it is that they make. But it's just that opportunity to get up close and the touching of various things, the smell of a farm. It's never always the nicest, but, it was just... the opportunity.
It was. And also I had an opportunity to go and see Robert and Jill Neal at Ballinelson Nurseries in Derby there, and they've got a lovely setup with the pot plants, the beehives. They do their own honey there, and also the strawberries. They've got a lovely strawberry setup. So that's all coming up in this week's Countryside.
Manx Radio's Countryside is brought to you by NFU Mutual.
Well, open day it was indeed, Kiri, at the Kermode's family farm.
It certainly was, and what a busy day it was.
Well, I got there and I thought there'd be 3 or 4 people scratching around, having a look at it, nothing else to do. There was hundreds, wasn't there?
There was droves of people. We absolutely blew us away from 10:30 right on the dot all the way through to 5 p.m. It never stopped. Families, carfuls of children, just come to see the animals and see what agriculture's all about, really.
Yeah, we were there and we had a trip round to talk to some of the people, young and old, to find out what they thought about life on the farm. So we've got some visitors here at the farm today as well. Who are we talking to?
Stuart Oakes from West Sussex in Worthing.
And James Taylor from Worthing.
Are you coming from a farming background, or is this a rare opportunity for you to see one?
No, this is just purely for the TT we're here for. We're staying on the farm and we go back on Wednesday. So we've been here for just under 3 weeks.
Right, it's a good long stretch then. Is this the first time you've stayed here?
No, we've been here for 3 years continuously. So
yeah, you've not been roped in yet to help with the cattle or emergency with the sheep out or anything yet?
Not yet. Maybe one day.
And what about staying in this sort of area? I mean, a lot of people stay in hotels and Douglas Promenade and places. Does this suit you?
Yeah, it's a classic area to stay in. It's probably better than Douglas. It's out the area. You actually see a bit of the countryside, and it's just nice and quiet. We prefer to come back here every year. So, from our perspective, it suits us right down to the ground.
Yeah. Do you have the bikes here with you as well?
Yeah. We come across some bikes. We always ride up. Maybe not next year. We might fly across, but no, we'd like to ride across.
What about the farming thing? Are any of you both from farming backgrounds?
I'm not. I'm from a retail background, so I mean, personally, it's nice to see it, but it's not something that I'm associated with. No.
We've got countryside near us, and we've got local farms that do the similar thing to this open day. We go along to that sometimes, but no, it's lovely here.
Well, it's great that you're out supporting it anyway and joining in anyway.
Yep, lovely.
Well, have a safe trip back.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you.
So, who am I talking to here? What's your name?
Elif.
What have you seen today on the farm?
Sheep.
Lots of them?
Yeah.
And what was happening to them?
They're getting their wool taken off.
Were they? And why do you think that happens?
Because it's sunny.
Because it's sunny and they'll get hot?
Yes.
Yeah. What about the other things that are here? There's some cows too, is there?
I went on some ponies.
What, a toy one?
No.
What?
A real one.
What was it like? Was it scary on the horse, on the pony?
No.
Have you been on one before?
No, but I have been on a donkey before.
You've been on a donkey? Well, there's none of them here today, is there? Have you been on the tractors as well?
I just haven't been on them yet because had people on them.
What about the cow? What were you doing with the cow over there?
Milking it.
Milking it? Did any milk come out?
No.
All right. Well, good talking to you, and let you go away and see some of the more of it. All right. Well, Doreen, Christian, you've got some wool here in the spinning wheel, a byproduct, of course, of the sheep that are on the Orrisdale farm here and all the other farms. What have you been demonstrating today with it?
Well, I've been showing the people the spinning wheel, and the children have been helping with the carding of the wool before it gets spun, and they've really enjoyed that.
It's got the two things, they're like sort of steel brushes here that you've
they're
got. They
called-
look quite vicious in a way.
Yeah, they're called paddles, and you run them the two together to straighten the wool out, so it's all in a one line, ready for spinning.
Oh, so it's not just as simple as getting the big bundle of wool from the straight in the sheep and trying to thread it through the spinning wheel then?
No, it's not that easy.
And what about the wheel itself? I mean, I suppose they go back a long way, some of the original ones.
Well, I've had mine about 40 years now.
Really?
Yes.
It looks pretty new still.
Yes.
I suppose they don't get outside very often, do they?
No, they don't, no. But I've enjoyed it, and I like making the jumpers, the really old jumpers, and they last for years, these jumpers.
We'll come to them in a second or two, but is it difficult to get the hang of the spinning wheels?
No, it's just like driving a car. You've got to use your pedals and your hands, so it's just like...
Bit of coordination.
Yes,
needed.
coordination, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you sort of pick it up fairly quickly, or was there sort of... I suppose there was a lot more people doing it 40 years ago that was able to teach you, was there?
I went to spinning classes. It took me about 5 or 10 minutes to learn.
Really? Is that all?
Yes, it didn't take long.
Well, back to the jumpers here, you got a couple of big sweaters, I'm going to call them, and these are obviously made straight from the spinning wheel and then knitted, is it?
Yes, straight from the spinning wheel, knitted. I didn't use the carder. I just got the fleece and I just pulled out some wool straight in the spinning wheel and then knitted it up.
Well, they look as though they're not the 2017 jumpers. How long had them ones?
These are about 35 years old.
Really?
Yes.
Gosh, they must have been always hand washed.
Yes, yes.
Is that one of the troubles today, where the people will just bung everything in a washing machine and that would be the end of them?
Well, I do tell people to just stand outside in the rain and the rain will wash them.
I suppose they've still got sort of the bits of the oil and lanolin from the original sheep's wool still in them, I suppose.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's very therapeutic, actually, to do it, because you're thinking about it all the time. You're not watching television or anything. It's just nice to do something with your hands and...
Yeah, it must be satisfying for
very
yourself to
satisfying.
come from what we're seeing here, just the fleece of the sheep, and then you can spin it yourself, make the wool, and then actually knit the jumper. It must be quite rewarding.
It is rewarding and very satisfying. And the people I give the jumpers to are very appreciative.
Well, it's not my size in, blast.
Well, Roger, it's been a very busy day here for the beekeepers at Orrisdale. Has it been a success?
We've been very, very pleased with the amount of interest we've had, particularly from youngsters. And we've had a demonstration hive here that's shown a great deal of interest. We've had one or two older people quite interested in taking up the great art of beekeeping, and we'll be starting the courses for beginners in November. And we've been telling everyone our website, which is iombeekeepers.com, and you can leave your name there in November. Then we'll get in touch with you, and the courses start in January.
But also today they had the chance to sample some of the honey.
Oh, very much so. And it's rather different from the honey that you can buy in ShopRite.
Really? Is it extra special?
Extra special. And some of it was only harvested from local hives a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, very fresh.
So the flow has started already.
And how are the bees at the moment here on the Isle of Man? Would you know how the summer's treating them?
It's a very strange year. There haven't been too many swarms of bees. We had a sort of a flush in May, but since the weather's been rather changeable, it's been rather quiet. We're hoping the sun's going to come out this week. With a bit of luck, we'll start seeing some more swarming activity. But the beekeepers are fairly happy with the flow of nectar at the moment as we go from crop to crop. And they're hoping for... It looked like a good year to start with, but now we think it might end up just being a bit average. But we don't know.
And today, having the opportunity to come to an open day like this, which is aimed at young people, do you think it is good mileage for educational purposes, such as the beekeeping?
Absolutely. We want to emphasise the great link that beekeepers have with the agricultural community, and particularly agricultural communities with crops that need pollinating, apple orchards, plum orchards and things like that, that there's a great link. And so we want to get a lot more friendly with the agricultural community.
And the children obviously loved it here today. They've been able to take away colouring sheets. They've been given stickers of real picture of a bee rather than a fluffy bumblebee. It's a real one. They know what to look out for now.
And we've had a number of kids that have been rather scared of them because they think they're wasps.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is all part of it. It's the education, hoping that they'll take it home and actually learn from it, isn't it?
Well, very much so. We've got to look for the next generation of beekeepers, and so we don't want the hobby to die out with us, so we've got to bring the next people on.
So we've got a group of young girls here. What's your name?
Heidi.
Lauren. Freya. Jess.
Now you've had I wouldn't call them horses, are they ponies?
Yeah, they're ponies.
And what's the names of these two?
Toffee and Missy.
Okay, and how old are these ones?
Missy is 25 and Toffee is 17.
Oh, they're quite old then. They're older than you. How old are you?
6.
Oh, wow. And do you ride them?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's not scary?
Mm-mm.
Okay, what about you? Is one of them yours?
Yeah, Missy.
Missy?
Yeah.
And is it a girl or a boy?
Girl.
Good. And good, well behaved?
Yeah.
Doesn't run off when you're sitting on the back at great speed?
No.
And how old were you when you first rode one?
10.
Didn't scare you?
A bit.
A bit just now, not now though?
No, not now.
Who's in charge, you or the pony?
Me.
You? All right. Well, let's go to the bigger girls. And you've been riding them a long time as well?
Yeah, I ride a different horse though. I used to ride Toffee, but me and Jess share a bigger horse now.
Oh, it's been passed down the generations then, yeah? The ponies, I suppose, they're good for these younger ones to start
Yeah,
on.
they're good for like learning and like beginners and stuff.
Yeah.
So now that we've moved on a bit, we've got a bigger horse.
Is there many of them excitable or are they all fairly calm?
They're all dead quiet.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And who has to look after them all?
Slot and,
Yeah.
and our Auntie Sarah.
And just tell us a little bit about what you have to do to look after them.
Mainly just feeding them, grooming them, sort of stable care, just the basic stuff that they need, as well as exercising them.
Right, and do different ponies and horses, do they all eat different types of food or do they mainly have the same?
They mainly tend to have the same food. We feed these ones on sugar beet and hay, really, as well as having them out in the paddock.
Yeah, and it's hard work keeping them all shiny and brushed and clean?
Yeah.
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 Is that a nice part of it or do you prefer the riding?
Riding.
Well, that's usually the case, isn't it? And what about competitions? I suppose you're too young to enter competitions yet, are you?
I've had a leadering class.
All right, have you?
And the pony that the judge wants to take home.
Really? Oh, well, that would get you. Did you win it?
Once we did, but this year's one, a younger girl with a smaller pony won.
Okay, well, you got plenty of time to do lots of winning yet, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you like being in the competitions?
Yeah.
Is the different types of things you have to do on them? Is it like the big ones where you have to do dressage and everything like that? Or?
There's a canter class that I do and trotting and all-rounder.
Right, and what sort of competitions? Is it all the same for you ones or a bit harder?
Same really. We've done a little bit of jumping, but not yet in a competition.
Is the jumping hard to learn?
Yeah, it's definitely harder than just learning to ride normally. Yeah.
Who decides when they jump? It always tickles me, this. Is it the horse, or does the rider make it jump, or is it a bit of both?
It's the horse really knows what to do, but the rider has to be prepared.
Yeah, I've seen them stop sometimes just before.
Yeah, sometimes they like refuse to go for the jump when they're not ready.
It depends on the day.
Yeah.
And does the weather bother horses or ponies when you're out? Are they poorer on wet, miserable days like people are?
Yeah, they don't like being out in the rain.
No?
So we just ride them on like when it's like not raining, when it's sunny.
Sounds a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Pippi and Carol, what's going on today? I thought I'd come here and see one or two people scratch around the farmyard. Half the Isle of Man's here.
Well, that's what I thought. It'd been like a day out for a few visitors, but it certainly turned out different.
What was the idea of it to start with, Carol?
Well, I saw an advert came through about Open Farm Sunday. They do it away quite a bit. People open their farms on one Sunday in June just for the public to come and see what farmers do. It can be like great big arable farms or just small holdings, whatever they want, and people can come and just find out about livestock, crops, how the milk is produced, bread is made, everything like that. We had the bees here today, so they find out where the honey comes from as well.
I suppose you're lucky in a way because you've got a bit of everything here on your farm, haven't you?
Yeah, we even still got a few cattle in the shed fattening, and we got the whole process no different in the summer than the winter in a sense of feeding. So people see what we do, and it's it's a small scale at the minute, but that's the way it is, and they can see it for themselves how it works.
Yeah, and the great thing as well, you've got some people shearing there, and they can see the sheep from when the full fleeces are on them, and how quickly the boys can actually get through them. You know?
Well, yeah, we're well into the season of the shearing now, and the wool's coming off them nice, and sheep are in good condition. Yeah, everything's coming with it. It's a good time to hold it, really.
It's amazing the amount of people that have asked what happens to the wool after it goes from here. And a lot of people have never seen a sheep sheared before today, and it sort of puts another link into the chain. Where do you get your jumpers from? And this wool goes to Bradford, and it's bought and it's manufactured into jumpers and carpets and things like that, and they made the link now right back to the farm.
Have they asked many awkward questions, the youngsters?
Not too bad. No, they've been good, and they thoroughly enjoy, because we put out colouring books and stickers and Play-Doh, and then they can throw wellies at things and throw balls into mixtures. It just gives them something to amuse themselves, and they meet the animals, the hens and the lambs. They just thoroughly enjoy it, and nobody asked any awkward questions for once.
The old bullock there as well. That's a pick of age on that one, isn't there?
Yeah, yes. I know where he should be, but he's not going. But
yes, he's 9 years old, Henry now.
And is he one you've had from the calf?
Yeah. The mother didn't like him at all, and she was really nasty mother, and we hadn't reared him in the end. And
still here. Yeah. So it's only the Meg lambs that are supposed to be sentimental.
No, Henry's a fixture.
But all in all as well, you've been raising money for charity amongst it all too, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got the little pink tractor for the anti-cancer.
That's Kenneth Carroll.
That's Kenneth. Kenneth provided that, and if there was a little box for donations for that. It's more PR than to make money. It's so that people just come and meet us and find out when people, rather than just a name, like a name in a book or whatever.
Pippi and Carol Kermode from Orrisdale Farm in Ballasalla. And do you know them well, Kiri?
Oh, should do.
But what a day it was, and thanks to all the people who took the time out to enthusiastically talk to us as well, to find out what they thought about the day, and a little bit of information about the spinning wheels and the wool and the ponies there, how they get looked after. And yeah, it was a good day, but a lot of hard work put in by your family, and well rewarded in the end. I think it was worth it, wasn't it?
It really was. To see those children's faces light up when they could hold a baby lamb. And we have a great big bullock there. He's nearly 7 foot tall. For them to just look at it in awe, and maybe it's their first time they've ever seen a beast that close up, or sat on a big tractor, or even a little old vintage tractor that people had kindly lent us for the day. But there was a lot of help gone into it from other people on the island, and I want to say a massive thank you for them, and to everybody that came along. It was a super day.
Manx Radio's Countryside is brought to you by NFU Mutual.
Well, Ballynelson Nurseries is just off the main road there between Derby and Andreas, and I went along to speak to Robert and Jill Neal, who run it. And, well, big strawberry setup there. That was the first place I went and seen.
Yeah, we did look at growing them on the ground, because there are lots of places still grow them on the ground, but to get a good quality product, consistent supply, and also make it a lot easier for staff to pick them as well too, and us, and get a lot less wastage as well. We decided to grow them on what we call tabletop system. It's worked really well. So we can control everything by having them on tabletops. I mean, we've got the amount of water that goes into them, the type of food, the varieties, the quality of the plants, quality of the product coming out. So it's all really easily manageable when we grow them that way.
Yeah, and it keeps the slugs off of them as well, because they're grown at height. It's also a chiropractor's dream, because there's no damage to your back whilst you're picking them.
How many years have you been doing them? That's relatively new to your portfolio, isn't it?
It is, yeah. This is our 3rd year. So we've expanded over the last 3 years, and now we're on phase 3, which they're already producing a mass of strawberries. Yes.
I mean, I've looked and thought that you showed me the first one. I thought, yeah, it's pretty impressive. It's a fine area. And you said, oh, here's another shot. I said, what's in there? Well, there's strawberries in this one too at a different phase. I mean, what's the idea of the different areas? Some are covered, some aren't.
We can control the rate at which they mature, which they grow and which they mature. So, we can we've been picking strawberries for a month now out of the polytunnel. And then we've got an area which is slightly less covered, so we can bring them forward a little bit more, but they're later than the polytunnel, but earlier than they would have been outside. And then we've got a big area outside, so it just kind of delays the maturity date of them really, so we can be picking over a longer season.
Yeah, so you're not stuck with a load of them at once trying to get rid of them.
That's right. Yeah. And the other thing is the plants we'll use for 3 years. So phase 1 will, after this season, they'll all be replaced, and the compost, everything will be replaced on phase 1, and then the following year phase 2 will be replaced, and then phase 3 the year after, and so on and so forth.
It's a continuous cycle.
Yeah.
Well, you're not actually pick your own or things like that, though, are you? But so I mean, where do you distribute all these strawberries?
The main place we send them to are Robinsons, who are absolutely brilliant to support our business, and also the Dairy Shed make yogurts, and they use our strawberries for their strawberry yoghurt. So we have a lot of support, as I say, particularly from Robinsons.
And the different varieties too, is that for different people or just...
We grow different varieties because we choose varieties. Our main criteria for choosing varieties is taste. So it doesn't really matter if the yield is not as high as some of the the bigger yielding varieties, but they have to taste good. So that's our main criteria. And then we have a range of really nice tasting strawberries, so we can extend the season. So we've got all the different sort of cultural techniques for extending the season, and then we can use different varieties as well too to sort of extend the season, have earlier ones and later ones. So it's quite a long production season really.
I've seen something as well to do with the yogurts and your own honey as well, which is nice.
Yes, yeah, we've got about 25 hives around the place. Robert's the beekeeper. I stay clear when he's taking the honey off. I stay very clear.
Haven't you got a little suit with them thing on?
No, thank you.
Oh, you're not fond of them?
No, they're okay until they sting, and quite often when you're taking the honey off, they can get a little bit angry. Generally, they're fine because obviously they're all around the nurseries, collecting up the pollen, and we do sell an awful lot of honey, and it's natural, raw Manx honey.
Yeah, and is that something you've always done, Robert, the bees?
Well, I've also had bees, but not as many as what we've got now. But the main reason we're having them now, or having so many now, is to fertilise the strawberry flowers.
What's the connection with that side?
Yeah, that's the main reason why they're here, because when the strawberries are all starting to flower, we need something to pollinate them quite quickly, so hence the bees. But in the UK, they use bumblebees, but a lot of the bees that they use, so they come in a little cardboard box. They're grown in Holland, really, I suppose, then they ship to the UK and then distributed throughout all the strawberry production areas and tomato grown areas. So that's their way of sort of naturally fertilising their crops, but we're not allowed to do it in the Isle of Man because of the risk of importing Varroa, rightly so. So we use our own beehives, and we've got about 25 hives here, so they're all pretty close to where the strawberries are, so when the strawberries are in flower, the bees just going to settle on them really quickly.
So you're getting the best of both worlds,
Well,
doing all that and then getting good honey.
An excellent byproduct.
But one thing I do remember from coming down here years ago is the tomatoes. You've always had them, haven't you?
Yeah, we've always had tomatoes. In fact, my dad started growing tomatoes, I don't know, 1964, I suppose. They used to grow them in a glass house down at Charlie Vondy's, where Vondy's Garage is now. And then he sort of got the bug and built this greenhouse about 1974, and we've been growing tomatoes here ever since. It's at different quantities. When we started off, this whole greenhouse was full of tomatoes, but we've had different amounts over the years, depending on the size of the market, really. But we've settled down to probably half of the greenhouse full of tomatoes, and we grow them in a traditional style. Again, it's mostly varieties which are bred for taste, so we grow them for having the right taste of them, and they all go to Robinsons as well too, because John and Tony from Robinsons have been absolutely brilliant to support what we produce, and also a lot of local produce. I think people are starting to become a little bit more aware of where the food comes from and the quality of the local food, and it's something a lot of people haven't really appreciated for quite a few years, really, just how good local stuff is, but they are starting to become a bit more aware of it now, which is good.
Got a lot of bedding plants and things like that.
Yes.
Is it quite a good environment? I mean, the Isle of Man's tricky with weather, but have you sort of got the right facilities here? Well, obviously you have.
Yes, yeah. We our bedding plants and perennials, we grow them all from seed, and we acclimatise them to the Manx climate. We have processes or procedures, I should say, for all the plants, so that by the time they go off to somebody's garden, they're hardened off to the Manx weather.
Is that one of the problems that people have had in the past, where they're bred in these nice warm environments and
yes,
suddenly
exactly.
the shock of going out?
Yes, it is, yes.
And what about your hanging baskets? I've heard a bit about them.
I do rather a lot of hanging baskets. I must admit, it is an area I thoroughly enjoy. I do about, I would say, 800.
Really?
Yes. So I start in March doing the hanging baskets, and I've just finished now. So the worst part, though, is me having to water them all when we're full of hanging baskets, because I hand water them with the hose just to make sure that they're well looked after whilst I've got them. And then when our customers take them away, it's their job to look after them, and I think they're all marvellous, because they all tell me how wonderful their baskets are doing, but it's the aftercare that really counts for a lot.
Yeah, I suppose it's, again, it could be a sudden thing if you've sort of got an automatic watering thing and then people are going to water them themselves. That contrast can do them harm, I suppose. But you can see them in Ramsey, don't we?
Yes, you do. I've done Ramsey Town now for 12 years, and I feel very proud when I see them hanging in Ramsey. I really do. And they're very well looked after by the head gardener and his staff in Ramsey. They do a really good job at watering them and looking after them.
And what about, finally, the weather on the Isle of Man? We know what it's like. How bad is it for your setup here if it's poor weather?
Our only enemy is the wind.
All right.
Because when the wind comes through, it just sends our plants flying. And we don't worry about it, because it's always going to be windy in the Isle of Man, and we leave them on the ground till the wind's gone, and then they get picked up again, and a little bit of a chat too.
Well, what a lovely nursery they've got there, and the hard work that the pair of them put in. Robert and Jill Neal from Ballinelson Nursery in Derby. And you can get information from their Facebook page, and they've got a website as well that you can keep an eye on, and open 7 days a week. You're a strawberry fan. I can see your lips drizzling now. Eh?
They are absolutely lovely, especially the homegrown ones in the Manx Sunshine. They do taste so much better than the shop-bought ones, don't they?
Yeah, I think so as well. And do you have a bit of cream on them always?
Always, yeah. It's got to be thick cream.
Spoon bit of sugar?
Tiny bit, but not always.
No.
Do you like them?
Yeah, I do. I used to be allergic to them at school.
No way.
Yeah, I was off school until a few times till they found out what was making me come out and make me ill all the time.
Goodness me.
But now I can eat them now. I don't eat too many at once. But there we are. Well, the thought of everyone eating strawberries has made me hungry. We better get out of here now.
Manx Radio's Countryside is brought to you by NFU Mutual.
Well, there we are. Strawberries and cream on the menu for this evening. After listening to that, Robert and Jill Neal there at Ballinelson. That's a great setup with their strawberries. No more grovelling on the ground with the slugs and everything in them. They've got a lovely Harmite height setup there, where the irrigation running through the little grow bags and things that they're sitting in the compost.
It's amazing the modern ways of doing production now, isn't it? It's so much easier, and like you say, it won't hurt your back crawling around the rows there now.
Put a lot of work into it, and have done well in their 15 years together there. And also, well done to the Kermode family. You put a great day on, you and your family there.
It's just having that chance for people to come and enjoy what we do in the countryside, learn where their food comes from, see how crops are grown, and it's just that little bit that hopefully they can take home and remember.
Yeah, if you got £1 for every time they stood in that little gridder of manure that was going across the yard, the kids, they could have been millionaires.
Wouldn't we just?
Yeah. All right, we'll leave it there for this week's Countryside. We're back next week with more. So from me, Simon Clark.
And me, Kerry Kermode.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't sit in the slow lane. Join the fast lane right now with Shaw's all-new Superfast Plus broadband. Enjoy more bandwidth, amazing speeds and the best value on the island from just £23.95 per month. So don't be left behind. Get a piece of the high-speed action with Superfast Plus broadband from Shaw. For details, visit our stores in Douglas, Ramsey and Port Erin or click shaw.com.
Love being Shaw.
Terms and conditions apply.